So, do you really think you should throw away your advertising copy when you've finished working on it? Let's dive into the conversation and let's have a little chat. My name is Teresa Coker Smith, and I am an advertising copywriter. I used to work for an agency or agencies way back in the 90s, and I'm still very much learning a lot about online marketing and copywriting. But I've got a few things I'd like to share about my time as a copywriter. So if you like this channel and if you like the content, please click the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. And let's get into this topic of whether a portfolio really sucks or not. So, who needs a portfolio? So portfolios are just a collection of the kind of work you've done. So for example, let's just say you're a creative artist. You could be a copywriter, but you could also be an art director, or you could be a graphic designer. Just someone who works creatively on, certain aspects. Maybe you are a wordsmith. So with wordsmiths, what we do is that we write the words to adverts, sales copy, advertisements, and things like that. Things you find in newspapers and billboards, on TV, on videos, literally everywhere. Copywriters write those words. And then you can also be a graphic designer. Maybe you do the drawings, or maybe you're really good with adding like pictures and graphics to the words that copywriters write, and therefore you could be seen as an art director or a graphic designer. You've got a particular knack for doing that kind of thing. And then you could also be any other kind of professional where you have a digital set of work that you have done, which isn't necessarily physical, but it's work you've done. It's creative and it needs to be stored somewhere. So those are the kind of people who would need a copywriting portfolio, or a portfolio, just to say. So, and basically what a portfolio is just a record of your work. Um, in the olden days, when I was writing advertising copy, a portfolio could also be like a physical document. So you'd print out the work, that you do, like this one I showed you here in the beginning. You print it out and then you keep it in a folder, or a file, that kind of stuff. So that leads me to the next question on my mind, which is why? Why would you need to store a portfolio in the first place? So if we look at the actual reasons why portfolios are needed, that will kind of answer the question. So you would need a portfolio, for example, if you are working for an advertising agency, and just like you're working for an agency and you produce copy for different clients. So, for example, you come into work one day and you've got a brief being the task that the client has set for you as a creative person or as a copywriter to to complete. So you look at the brief and you think, okay, and you start work on that particular product or service. And then when you finish with that work, you would need to store it somewhere. You need to keep it because, in another few months, you might be working, or weeks, you could be working with another client. And then perhaps down the line, that client might decide, actually, that advertisement that I'm running, I'd like it to be changed. I like it to be longer. I like it shorter. I want a different idea. I want a different concept. Actually, I don't like that word. There's so many different reasons. Maybe as well, you might have done some testing and you might have seen that actually this particular ad isn't actually bringing in much sales. And when I change this particular part of the advertisement, then it brings in more higher sales volumes or click-through rates. So all of these things are some of the reasons why you want to keep your portfolio. You want to keep a record of what you've done. Other reasons why you might want to keep a portfolio are because, for example, let's say you move on and you go to another agency, for example, um, and they want to hire you. They're going to want to know what you've done. They're going to want to know whether you have any experience. So if you've got a portfolio to show them, just for them to see that this is the work you've done, then that makes it much easier for you to be able to, pass through the interview stages of working for another maybe agency, and you get the gig, you get the job, and boom, you're in. So another reason why you might want to have a portfolio, in case you're not working for an agency, you could be working maybe as a freelancer, and you want to perhaps look for clients, and client comes to you, or you go to clients. There's so many different platforms on the web where you can find clients, and then all of a sudden they're asking, okay, so what have you done before? So if you don't have a portfolio, then how are you going to show what you've done? So those are some of the reasons why a portfolio is a good thing to have. And the next reason I'm going to talk about would be, so what kind of things would you have in your portfolio? What are some of the kind of things that you put in it in the first place? Yeah, so I've been talking about portfolios, but what kind of things would be in that portfolio? So, for example, when I was working as a copywriter, I would typically write press ads, or press ad being a newspaper advertisement, for example. So it could be like a full page ad, or it could be a half page ad, or it could be a little space, just occupy a smaller space within a whole page in a newspaper, for example. And let's say as a copywriter, I'm the one who's in charge of writing the headline. I also write the subheadlines, so the headline being the very large text at the top, and the sub headline being the text underneath, and then the body copy as well being the little the detailed text, which is in the body of that press ad, for example. So you would want to be able to put that kind of work into your portfolio, because it's a record of published work. You actually have written something that's been published in a newspaper, and newspapers can be local and they can be national. So if you have work which is published nationally, for example, I think that will stand well for you on your portfolio, and it shows that you have done the kind of work which has been approved, by clients or by an agency, and yeah, which is good enough to put out there, in the marketplace. Apart from press ads, which I used to write, nowadays you could have things like Facebook ads, or you could have an Instagram post that you've written, or perhaps you've written some chatbot copy. Maybe, for example, some clients, some companies, they have automated messaging, whereby when you go to their website and you type in a question, so sometimes you get a little chat icon come up, and then you type in your question, and then all of a sudden you get an answer back, but that's not an actual person. So there are people who write the words for that, and they are copywriters. So you could do that. You could also be an email marketer, for example, and you might write emails. And if you've written a number of emails, then you might want to put it in your portfolio as well, to show your future or prospective clients that actually these are some of the emails I've written, and these are some of the clients I've worked for. These are some of the industries I've worked in, and that also shows that you and your client are a good fit. So putting all the different media for which you've written copy into your portfolio is a very good idea. So before I round up, there's also one more step, and that is the how. So how do you make a portfolio? Like I said, when I was writing copy within an advertising agency, what I just did, but very easily, was just go on the computer and print it off. So you print out those copies that you've written, get yourself a folder, it could be a plastic wallet, anything, which is secure and will keep it safe and dry, and you just stick your copy in there. Now that we have digital storage, so you could choose whichever digital storage you want. I mean, there's several, the cloud-based storage. Um, software that you can sign up to, which will give you space, in the cloud for you to store your information on. So you could store your portfolio on there, and you can make it look really nice, and store it according to maybe the industries you've written for, or you could store it according to the clients you've worked for, or you could store it according to the media you've written on. So completely depends on how best you want to present that work. And then you can do a little description underneath each of them, explaining why you did the copy, maybe what was the positioning for that brand, and if it achieved any results in the marketplace. You could also draw your audience's attention to that as well. So you've got a very good portfolio which you can send to anyone around the world, not just in your own country. You can send it to anyone in any part of the world, as a digital file, or as a link in your email, or as a link in a message, or any other medium for sending messages out to people. So that's my take on why portfolios definitely do not suck. So my advice is definitely get yourself a portfolio, and definitely make sure that if you are writing copy, make sure you store it in the portfolio, because you never know, it might be your lucky day tomorrow. And if you did like this video, give me a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and click on the subscribe and notification buttons, and I'll see you in my next video.